Okay. Fun fact number 125. Let's see if I can get through it this time. I'm going to be reading you Chapter 10 of Children of Light, and it's called Cells, CELLS. And let's see how I do this time. Oh, need the glasses so I can see, right? Okay. Tylo had left Toss to deal with the prisoner so she could spend time with Hobart, who she detested. She knew she could make him squirm because he was mesmerized by her, but she would never let him touch her. He was biologically filthy. But then again, she didn't much like anybody. What did she really care? He amused her. Tox took Vladimir to the catacombs under the temple. The environment was colder in the prison catacombs than in the temple, but no one seemed to notice. The catacombs opened into a large circular room that had cells lined on the wall. In the center was a pit of water. The cells had no bars or doors, but were shut with a screen of fire. Tox parted the fire in front of one of the rooms and escorted Vladimir into the small, dirt-walled chamber. His headache was better, but he felt strange. There was nothing in the room, no bed, no window, just walls. Tox looked at the fire, and it floated across the room and rested by another flame. Then Tox spoke to Vladimir and said, "I know this is hard for you, but believe me, I understand. I am a half-breed. I am half of this tribe and half of the tribe that is called my enemy. That is why Tylo does not like or trust me, and she is right. But please, you must trust me. I will help you escape to the other side, northward. My friends in the prison will help you, but don't trust everybody. If they say greater light to you, you can trust them. Your friends will be allowed to visit you. The guards will want to change your ideas. Play along with them, but don't become brainwashed like the others. I was hoping one of you would be strong enough to resist. When your friends come to visit, I will give you time alone with them. You must try to convince them to leave or force them to go with you. Do what you must to persuade them to leave here. They will surely die eventually if they do not escape. So will you." "I knew it," Vladimir said. "Why has he imprisoned his own people?" "They are weak, or inferior, or like me, in between worlds, appreciating and understanding both sides of Seti life. But understanding the Starians are the true light. We are the Nomons. I don't have much time to talk. I must leave now. Try to conform, but keep the truth hidden deep inside you. Remember what I have told you. Goodbye." The fire seemed to be controlled by the thoughts of Tox, and the flame covered the entrance to the cave-like room. Vladimir started thinking thoughts that conformed to the idea of helping the Nomons, and his headache went away. So that was it. There was some outside influence trying to change their thoughts. He could see the other prisoners through the flame curtains. He did not dare touch the flame. He could tell it was very hot from the heat in the cell. Vladimir was beginning to sweat. It was so cold outside the cell and so hot inside with the flame guarding the entrance. He wondered about the others and was glad to be in prison. As he was beginning to sit down to rest, the flame drew to one side and a little golden boy of about 12 was thrown in, apparently by no one. He landed against the far wall with a thud. He brushed himself off and moved towards the opening. He had a bloody nose from the fall, the blood ran down his pink lips. His skin was a shiny golden tone, almost like he was gold itself. His hair was blonde and his eyes were indigo. The flame closed off the entrance to the cell. He looked at Vladimir and said, "My name is Goron. How can you stand your molecular structure, cellmate Vladimir? Seems to feel much pain. What do you mean? Vladimir asked, quite curious and amused. Oh, never mind, said Goron. Why are you in prison? Vladimir asked. An awfully stupid reason. That's why. I couldn't find the missing human. No trace. So I returned unsuccessful. Am, and am imprisoned. As Goran said this, the flame guarding the door spit out at him and fringed the boy's hair, which he quickly patted out with his hands in a sort of casual manner. Like he was saying, oh well, apathetically, and he voiced, so what? Yes, yes, towards the flame. Vladimir jumped on what Goran said immediately. What do you mean by the missing human? I was just kidding. I'm in here because I offended one of your friends by telling him I was going to kill him. Why would they place you with me then? Perhaps they want me to help correct your thinking? I guess not. They're putting me in another cell. Goodbye. Goodbye, Goron. Goron laughed as he walked out the door and shouted back to Vladimir, don't transform or they'll hang you over the water and extinguish you. He laughed again and was out of sight. Who was that strange boy? What did all his words mean? Vladimir sat down perplexed. A few minutes later, someone brought him food. He ate and became very tired. He was going to go sleep when Tylo walked in. She sat down and stared into space for a long time. Vladimir watched her. He wondered, why is she here? Then she spoke. Why are you here? He voiced. Oh, oops, I messed up. Hold on. Then she spoke. You are right, Vladimir. They are evil. I hate them. Why are you here? He voiced. I'm a prisoner. I am a spy, a renegade. They found you out? I told Hobarth. He turned me in. She seemed to be talking in a daze. Vladimir thought, can I trust her? She hasn't said it yet. Vladimir decided to test her. You think I'm right? I think I'm wrong. I should help the Great Ones struggle against our mutual enemies. I don't know what came over me in the Great Hall. I'm so ashamed. And I can't believe they put a traitor in with me. Can't they find another cell for you? Tylo looked at him finally. Why do you say this? Are you blind? Can't you see the true light? That was close, thought Vladimir, but not exact. He had the feeling Tass had been very purposeful in saying, they will say true light to you, Vladimir. What do you mean? The only light I know comes from the Great One, said Vladimir. I thought I could trust you at least, said Tylo, as she stood up. Well, you can't. I'm calling the guard. Guard! 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 Yelled Vladimir. The fire curtain parted to one side. Tylo looked up. No one was there. This is our chance. Let's escape now, Tylo pleaded. Vladimir stood his ground and said, no. Are you kidding? I want to rejoin my friends. I want to help the Great One. You leave. I can't stand your insolence. Vladimir knew now he was doing the right thing. The fire hadn't spat at her like it had at Goron. The fire was in on the deception. The fire was trying to read his mind. The fire was alive. Tylo paced the floor. Don't you still have some questions, some doubts? Yes, said Vladimir. I know that my doubts are foolish and my questions will soon be answered. Tylo looked very angry and disappointed. The fire curtain parted to one side and Tylo walked out without another word. Vladimir finally fell asleep in the dim light of night. He was uncomfortable sleeping on the hard floor, but he was exhausted. He dreamt that a light entered the room and sang him to sleep. Or was it a dream? The boundaries between reality and illusion had become blurred since his arrival in the village. He was awakened by an orange man with green eyes and brown hair who brought him some food. Vladimir was thirsty and looked at the man. He said, "Can I have some water, please?" The man looked at him with an expression of shock and disbelief, then said, "Oh, yes, I can touch water now." He walked out and returned with some water carefully carried in a bowl. The flame curtain moved across the room. Vladimir thought, water must wound them. I think I begin to understand some things now. As he ate, he thought about the rest of the crew and what they were doing. "I'm not hungry," said Andrea. "You must eat something," pleaded Trevor. "I feel ill. I have this horrible headache. I don't think I'll be able to fight against the enemy." "Andrea, please, we need you." Hobarth, Trevor, and Andrea were in Andrea's room having breakfast. "Maybe I would feel better if I could see Vladimir," said Andrea. "We're not visiting Vladimir until tomorrow. You must keep your strength up," said Hobarth. "I've had a wonderful time with Tylo. She is wonderful." "Tylo this, Tylo that. I'm tired of hearing about Tylo. You're obsessed with her. It's indecent. You're not the same Hobarth I knew before we landed on this planet. You're especially not the same after Tylo. Ah!" "Andrea, are you jealous?" "No, don't be stupid. Why do you ask? Where is your telepathy or your empathy? Closed off. I'm confused, feeling too much. Leave me. Get out of here. Now." Andrew was tired of the all-knowing Hobarth knowing nothing. Hobarth left, confused. Trevor asked, "Why are you angry, Andrea?" "If I eat, will you leave me to sleep all day? I know I'll feel better tomorrow. I'll be glad to see Vladimir." "Sure, I will. Sure, you will. The Great One knows little of the art of war. But I would like to see some of the outlying area. Hobarth will be busy with Tylo. You can rest. Take care." Trevor kissed her on the forehead before he left. After eating, Vladimir had to relieve himself. But there were no facilities in this cave cell. He called out for the guard. "Where do you relieve yourself?" "What? Urinate? Defecate? What?" Another man walked up to the guard and said, "He means to get rid of his creative waste." "Oh, the waste room. Go this way." Vladimir followed the guard to a room that had two holes in the ground and a pool of water. "You get rid of your waste in the holes, then bathe yourself in the pool, then stand by the flame. After this, you may walk around the bowl of water in the center of the prison complex to stretch your limbs. There will be others there you can converse with also, but no radical thoughts, please. If you are good, your friends will be allowed to visit you tomorrow. I will leave you to your grooming chores." The guard left him. There were no flames guarding the door, only the flame in the hole in the wall of the pool of water. Vladimir relieved himself and washed himself in the water and dried himself. The grooming chamber was dark except for the light coming in from a hole in the high ceiling, and the flame's reflection on the water. For being a waste room, the smell was not rancid or pungent, but fragrant and sweet, like honeysuckles or some similar flower. The waste room was quite a romantic atmosphere for a toilet. As he stood naked by the flame, he wondered about Andrea. Were the aliens attending her wounds? Andrea fell asleep. She was dreaming. "Who are you?" she asked. All she heard was beautiful music. "Who are you? Tell me, please. What do you want?" She saw a warm, glowing object move towards her. It was a beautiful lavender light. The music was sweet, and then there was some disharmony. She saw Vladimir and reached out to him, but her hand went through him, and she heard his voice say, Trust me. You must trust me. Everything will be okay. Try to keep your spirit with you a little longer, if you can. We will see true light." Then she saw Tylo with Hobart, teasing him sexually. Hobart looked like a puppy dog following her commands. She turned in her sleep. Her burns hurt more than ever. She saw flames all around her and her parents' house burning down with her standing in the middle of the edifice, and Winton standing outside laughing menacingly at her. Then she saw Captain Phillips and Newly frolicking through a strange grass of seti. She smiled in her sleep. Then she saw Tylo burning up and walking towards her. She screamed. She screamed so hard it woke her up, and as she woke there was Tylo standing over her bed. "What are you doing here?" asked Andrea. "Hogarth told me you were unwell. I was concerned," said Tylo. "Thank you, but I'm quite all right. I just need some rest," said Andrea. "Your wounds are pussing and bleeding, and your temperature has risen. You look infected," Tylo said. "I'm fine. Let me rest." "Do you want some lunch?" "No." "Yes, some fruits and water," said Andrea. "Water? Oh, okay. Don't you want me to help you heal?" asked Tylo, reaching towards Andrea. "Really, I feel fine. Maybe tomorrow," Andrea said. Tylo left, and Andrea sat there stunned. Did Tylo care? Or was Tylo hiding something? Andrea didn't trust anyone now. Something was wrong. Very wrong. She knew that Tylo and these people were not good. But why didn't Hobarth know? "I love you. Please, one favor," Hobarth begged. "What?" "Show me the truth of you," Hobarth pleaded. "What? Your games. I expected more from you." Let me be for a while then, and go torment someone else," Hobarth replied. "Isn't love part torment?" "Yes, my love." Hobarth smiled and took her hand. Hobarth and Tylo's common conversational banter, repeated many times in one seti day. What was this idiot looking for, Tylo thought. The men circled around the pit of water in the catacombs. Some hummed, some talked. A very white-looking man caught his eye. Vladimir walked over to him. The man said, "True light to you, Vladimir." "Finally," said Vladimir. "Be careful now. They are watching." "Yes, I see." Vladimir realized the flames were trying to get the drift of the conversation. "My name is Quark. There are a few others here. How have you been treated?" "Fine. What happened to Goron?" "Goron is appealing to Nagar. Nagar is the one you call the Great One. He is our leader or king. Your physical nature and language are strange. Goron will be extinguished in the water kettle in the center of the path we walk around. You see, we are all really flames of one sort or another. We're able to take the forms of what we touch. The process is deadly to other forms of life, of course. Goron will be made to turn back to his original form, and they will put him in the water. The torture is painful, but he won't die as you would use the term, but he will be a diminished flame. They won't hold him under long enough to extinguish him and end his life. He will just be punished. Perhaps he will grow very weak and then will burn out on his own. What happens to him depends on the time given for the punishment. The Nagar will probably show him favor because Goron is somewhat a jester and rude at times, and Nagar likes that type of behavior. Water is very painful and leads to what you term as death. It means the end to our lives, which usually have no end, except for water. and true light. What happened to Tylo? Tylo came to you? Latimer shook his head in affirmation. Said Quark. This could mean trouble. When Tylo is around, it only means bad news. She was spying on you, you know. Yes, I didn't give anything away. Good. I am old. I have burned a long time. I know you do not think I look old, but I'm older than Nagar. Age can be seen by color or height in a gnomon. How come you're not the leader? I once was. The person Nagar overthrew had overthrown me. The replacement of leaders happens all the time among the gnomons. I believe Sheb may try to take over someday. The Nagar has remained the leader for the longest, and everyone fears him. Why? Because he has built this prison. He is the first to destroy his own kind. I was a great warrior against the Starians. Now I am ashamed of my triumphs. Yes, the fruits are wonderful, and Nagar is a god. What? Oh, yes! The flames had converged on them to feel what they were saying. The guard said, "Prisoners, back to your cells." The next chapter is chapter 11. It's called New Morning Light. And that will be happening soonly. Ciao, Bellas.